The movie begins with a man named Cesar, standing on the edge of a rooftop, ready to take his own life. But just as he is about to jump, the scene suddenly cuts to a bedroom where the same man is hiding under a woman's bed in a dark bedroom. Later, early in the morning, he slips away without making a sound and he returns to his job. He works as the caretaker of the apartment building, a role that gives him access to every room. Meanwhile, the woman he slept beside wakes up. Her name is Clara. What Clara doesn't know is that the night before, Cesar used his master keys to secretly enter her apartment. He hid under her bed, waited until she fell asleep, then knocked her unconscious with chloroform. After that, he slept beside her, without her ever realizing it. This disturbing act is not an accident. For Cesar, it has become his daily routine. But one day, a young girl named Ursula catches Cesar sneaking out of Clara's room. Realizing what she has seen, she begins to blackmail him, demanding money and favors in exchange for her silence. Although Cesar is enraged at being manipulated by a girl so young, he has no choice but to comply. Meanwhile, Clara, who is always lively, cheerful, and endlessly polite, fills him with rage. Later, Cesar visits his paralyzed mother in the hospital and confesses that he cannot stand seeing anyone happy, especially Clara. Then he admits that he has a plan to destroy her life. That same afternoon, an elderly woman asks Cesar to look after her dog for the night, to which he agrees politely. However, behind her back, he secretly poisons the dog's food, carefully adding just enough to make the animal seriously ill. That night, Clara returns home, freshens up, and lies down to sleep, never realizing Cesar is hiding beneath her bed. Once she drifts off, he emerges, knocks her unconscious again, and mixes harsh chemicals into all her skincare products before lying beside her one more time. And at dawn, he slips away. The following morning, Ursula catches him yet again, but this time she increases her demands, asking for adult movies as part of the blackmail, to which Cesar complies while burning with humiliation and hatred. Later that day, he crosses paths with that elderly woman who is rushing her sick dog to the vet, the very dog he poisoned. But Cesar shows no remorse and says something so heartless that it breaks her spirit, giving him a brief moment of satisfaction. But that feeling quickly shatters when he sees Clara step out of her apartment, smiling politely as always. When Cesar examines her face closely, he realizes she has used the acid-laced products, yet there is no visible damage. This failure enrages him even further. Disturbed and furious, he visits his mother again, demanding to know why Clara remains happy despite everything he has done to her. That night, Cesar sneaks back into Clara's apartment once more. After knocking her unconscious, he escalates his cruelty, destroying a wristwatch that belonged to her mother, hoping the emotional loss will finally break her. Once again, he lies beside her and leaves before morning. Hours later, Clara wakes up and notices a rash forming on her face, but ignores it and continues her routine. Cesar notices the marks and insults her appearance, but Clara simply laughs it off and walks away, which only deepening his fury. Determined to succeed, Cesar adds even stronger chemicals to her products. This time, he also writes her a deeply disturbing letter and releases cockroaches into her apartment. Eventually, the building management sends Cesar himself to spray pesticides. At last, Clara is visibly shaken and upset. For the first time, Cesar feels victorious, on top of the world. But the satisfaction is short-lived. Soon after, the building manager warns him that multiple complaints have been filed against him, and that he may soon be fired. That afternoon, Cesar plans his final act before being fired. One last move meant to ruin Clara's life beyond repair. So he sneaks back into her apartment and hides beneath her bed, waiting for her to return and fall asleep. However, things don't go as planned. Clara brings her boyfriend home, and the two excitedly discuss a vacation they're leaving for the next day. Forced to wait, Cesar remains hidden. But then, in a cruel twist, he accidentally knocks himself unconscious with chloroform. By morning, he barely escapes, slipping out just as Clara's boyfriend discovers the suspicious bag and catches Cesar trying to leave the apartment. Thinking quickly, Cesar claims he used his master key only to retrieve a forgotten bag from the day he sprayed the room. And once again, he gets away. Later, Cesar watches as Clara and her boyfriend happily leave for their vacation. Crushed, empty, and defeated, he spirals into despair and decides to end his life. He climbs to the rooftop, ready to jump, until he sees them return, arguing and canceling their trip. At that moment, Cesar abandons suicide and sneaks back into Clara's apartment once more and hides beneath her bed. There, he overhears Clara reveal that she is pregnant to her boyfriend's child. However, her boyfriend begins to doubt and grows suspicious of Cesar, while Cesar listens in silence. The next day, her boyfriend confronts Cesar, and the encounter soon turns violent, where Cesar kills him and then carefully stages the death as a suicide. But Ursula witnessed the murder. However, Cesar silences her by threatening her family's lives. So, paralyzed by fear, she stays quiet throughout the police investigation. Months later, Clara leaves the apartment building in tears, accompanied by her mother, as Cesar watches from a distance, satisfied. In the final moments, Clara gives birth, believing the child is her boyfriend's child. But soon, Cesar delivers his final cruelty. He reveals that every night he secretly entered her room, used chloroform to knock her unconscious, and slept with her, without her knowing. And the child was never her boyfriend's, but his. Then Clara's world collapses in tears completely, while Cesar feels fulfilled.
With that, the movie ends. Please like, comment, and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching.